Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the most inconsistent channel on farming YouTube. Before I get too far along today, I just wanted to thank all of you for getting me to 8,000 subscribers. It seems like just yesterday when I was just starting this channel out, and I'm very thankful that so many of you continuously tune in and support the channel. If you're not subscribed already and you like what you see in the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And of course, make sure you hit that like button down below. I heard it changes colors when you click it. Even more importantly, actually, thank you to all of you that sent anything over to Liam for his birthday. So back to the business that you're all here to see. It hasn't rained in maybe 5 days. It was really windy yesterday, and it was actually pretty chilly this morning. I think that we may have gotten our first good frost on that top of the layer of the ground. Moisture should be off, so we might be able to take all of these implements out to the field and start working some ground. I really like this hat, but I can't decide if I want my ears out or in. I can hear a lot better with them out. This may give me some kind of an excuse that I can't hear someone so I don't have to do anything. A handful of days ago, off camera, I worked almost 100 acres with this vertical till. It was muddy when I started, and then I got rained out, so it was even muddier by the end. That's not even what you saw on the last video. That was another farm that I got rained out of. I still need to get back over there and finish that outside pass around the field when it dries up a little bit. This vertical till is really good at collecting large amounts of dirt and just carrying it around on this big beefy frame. When you're going almost 11 or 12 miles an hour through the field with this implement, those discs can actually throw up a lot of dirt onto the frame. Jeff can clean it off. It is cold enough to where the men's restroom has been moved indoors. See if we can find where it is without hitting our heads. It's really dark in here. Yep, that looks like it. I just made a realization that there's actually two parts about having very cold hands that is not enjoyable. Oh, gotta love that smell. Moisture check out here on one of our rolling farms. This will get vertical tilled if it's dry enough. I think the ground is actually still partially frozen. Might have to wait to get a final verdict on whether or not this is gonna work. It can be misleading. I think it's gonna be pretty close. I'd say that my truck needs a bath, but I think it needs Jesus. That's dirty. There's just no saving the inside. The dogs have made it dirty, and I need to spend like 5 hours detailing it. Someday, maybe. That is one of the unfortunate perks of not having a nice shop to work in on the farm. If it rains a lot or conditions are really poor and there's not super important work to be done, it's pretty easy to have an excuse to take a day off. This is the same farm we were just at. We're just across the ditch here at the bin site. I just want to remind you guys how we decide what we vertical till and what we rip. This ground is the kind of ground that we originally bought the vertical till for. Has a decent slope to it. If we run the rippers out here, till the ground very deep and loosen up the soil, one big rain and you have washes all the way across headed down to the drainage ditch. The vertical till was the solution to help incorporate the stalks and turn the soil over a little bit without disturbing it to the point where there's really no structure holding it from going with Mother Nature. I mentioned in the first video that we had the vertical till out this fall that we're going to try to work more of our dark ground with it as well. I'm not going to dive back into why we're making that decision, but something I want to note is that because we're getting later in the season, we're wanting to get our ground worked before we have a hard freeze. I think we're going to go ahead and just send all three implements out, the vertical till and the two rippers. We'll start the vertical till on the lighter, more marginal soils, such as this farm. We'll put the rippers on a really dark, highly productive, poorly drained soils, and they're going to meet somewhere in the middle. And by somewhere in the middle, the vertical till is going to meet on their side somewhere because it just covers more ground. Rippers are about 10 to 12, maybe 13 acres an hour per tractor at maximum efficiency, whereas the vertical till is straight lined at maybe 34, 35 acres. It's not moving near as much soil, so it has less work to do. It can get through the work faster. I hopped over to another farm to see if it was dry enough. There's still a bit of moisture remaining in the ground, probably from the frost bringing it up, but that's graying off right there. I think this will work. Hello, Pop! You always gotta pet the dogs at the farm. It's a rule. I don't make the rules. That's too much energy for me. While we wait on the ground to dry off a little bit, Dad and I are going to run over to Windsor, and by run I mean drive really slow with the backhoe and fix a tile hole and dig up a rock. We're not sure what size the tile is, and we're also not sure how big the rock is. We just know that there is a tile hole, and we know that there's a rock that's bigger than we can get out with a shovel. So who knows exactly what we're going to get into. We're going to take a bunch of different sizes of field tile, and we're going to take the backhoe, because it can dig up almost anything. If there's a rock out there bigger than what this can dig up, we're in trouble. It'll probably just stay there. This sassy backhoe needs about 20 minutes of time to warm up before it's ready for the day. Come on. Oh no. You can do it. She's dead. Oh. Typical. I don't even know where the battery's at on this thing. Old Faithful. We got the battery charger plugged in. No luck. Well, we tried, but it's gonna have to charge a little bit. We're gonna get the tile stuff ready and then try it again. About a 12-inch, 10-inch. It's been like 5 minutes. Oh yeah. Whew. I was afraid that wasn't gonna start. Thank you for your service. I bet even the 4520 would start this morning. Not going anywhere. Now I just want to know, will it cold start? Never gets old, and it started better than our almost brand new backhoe. Except for the exhaust. It smells good, but it's probably bad for you. That's better than caffeine. The backhoe should be about warm now. I'm gonna head over to Windsor. It's probably gonna be a 45-minute drive or so. The backhoe is by far one of the slowest machines we have on the farm. It'll be about lunchtime by the time I get to the farm, but I'm gonna go ahead and go over there anyways, get it out of the way, fix the tile hole, get the rock. Let's hit the road. Well, that was 45 minutes. I'll never get back. Dad's already in the hole. Let's dig. The busted tile's down in there. It's at least 1 foot section. There's all this old clay tile out in these farms that was probably laid decades and decades ago. Slowly falling apart. Tile's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Work. 6 foot. Get about 8 foot.
Even with all the tile we brought, we didn't bring enough of the right stuff. So we got to go find, what'd you say, 3 foot of 8-inch tile?
I said 8 foot.
8 foot of 3-inch tile. We have returned with 2 10-foot strips of tile. Sharp. Awfully sweet of someone to leave these around.
Okay.
Betty?
Yeah.
Can't even tell we did anything. Clean up and cover up. Some dry fertilizer going on here. That project's done, at least for this year. We'll probably be out here another couple years fixing the same hole. We're going over here to move some dirt out in the lowest spot in the field where there's a tile inlet, and the rock is over here where Dad's headed. Here's the rock. We're not sure how big it is. It's at least that size. It could be anything. We'll call it Pandora's Rock. It's got a little bit of fertilizer on it. It's gonna start growing. That was anticlimactic. I can't decide if I'm excited or disappointed in its size. I was literally just gonna say, how many ripper shanks do you think we lost on this thing? That answers that question. This is our revenge. I'm putting this in the truck. This is heavy. Flip it back slow. Got it. You're going with us, buddy. Mission accomplished. We got him. Or her. Do rocks have gender? It's 2020. Anything's possible. You can do it. Come on. She doesn't like all this weight up front. Also, this rock has really done a number on my steering. Bringing this rock home in the backhoe, I kind of feel like a cat that's bringing in prey that it killed. It's kind of the same. Hey, there's our fertilizer spreaders again. Jeff's over here vertical tilling. Figured I'd stop by and show him our prized possession. Yeah, you can say that things are really exciting around here. We get pumped about a rock. We've reached the resting place for this rock with the rest of our rock trophies. Some good ones out there. That's a good looking rock.
Yeah.
When does a rock become a boulder? Can a boulder be a rock? I don't know. I'm not really much of a Hank Schrader type. I'm more of a Walter White, for anyone who knows that show. These rocks are very valuable for ornamental reasons. People will put them in their yard. They'll take them somewhere, have them engraved with a family name. And the best part for us is, you can't come over here and steal this rock from us. These small rocks are a little bit easier to relocate, but these big ones, you're not gonna get this up with a team of people lifting. I'm gonna take the backhoe in home and get some lunch. I'm starving. Remember, if I don't get lunch by 1:30, I go on strike. And it's 1:09. And that concludes our backhoe shenanigans for the day. Before we sneak on over and spy on the fertilizer spreaders, I want to talk a little bit more about our dry fertilizer for those of you who really don't understand how it works. First, and the most important thing to know that actually will transfer outside of agriculture, even to landscaping, any type of fertilizer products you use, anytime you see a fertilizer analysis, the 3 numbers you see separated by a dash are N, then P, then K. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Any micronutrients involved in the product will be listed additionally, but not in that main line. If you've ever gotten any kind of fertilizer to grow plants, for landscaping, any type of project like that, you'll notice that it has a chemical composition on it. All of our farm ground that will be going into corn next season will see a minimum of 200 pounds of DAP and 200 pounds of potash. That will cover the majority of our P and K, and it will be applied with dry fertilizer. DAP is our phosphorus product, and I had a great question in the comments the other day. I don't recall who asked it, but they wanted to know why we use DAP as opposed to MAP. The answer to that is, and I had to ask my salesman because I didn't know personally, what a store carries or what a retailer is carrying to apply on a field is usually based on supply chain. We work with Nutrien out of Neoga. I would assume they're using DAP because that's what they have the best resources to get. I do know other retailers like to carry MAP. DAP and MAP are very similar products. The only major difference being is when they do the final chemical addition of the nitrogen product, they add 2 parts nitrogen as opposed to 1 part as they do in MAP. Phosphate fertilizers start as rock phosphate. The rock phosphate is then turned into phosphoric acid, and then somewhere down that chemical line, they add in ammonia. That ammonia binds with it. Whatever ratio they put it in determines whether it comes out at MAP or DAP, and there's actually a handful of other phosphorus products that can be created. DAP offers a little bit more nitrogen at 1846O, whereas MAP is 1152O. That nitrogen in DAP is part of the reason that we apply it on our bean stubble that's going into corn. We want to make sure that we're getting our money's worth out of our fertilizer. Potash is all about the same. It depends a little bit on its color, what the chemical composition of it is. It's either between 0060 and 0062. I'm not even entirely sure what color potash we're applying, but we're putting 200 pounds on, and actually on some of our corn stalks we put even more on just to have more for our soybeans. One downside about these big crops that we continue to grow that a lot of people overlook is that our fertility requirements have skyrocketed. When you're producing almost 100 bushel beans in some fields, 250 to 300 bushel corn, you're taking a lot of nutrients out of the ground that have to be replenished. They are not a renewable resource. What we take out, we have to put back in. One of the worst things you can have stamped on your name is being a farmer who mines the soil. Someone who doesn't give back to the earth what they take. We always make sure that we put more than enough fertilizer. Some places we're putting on 300, 350 pounds if the soil tests show that's what they need. I was about to get some drone footage of the Terragator spreading some of that fertilizer, but I got some orders to go run the vertical till. Duty calls. I don't think I'm gonna need the car hard in the tractor. Looks like the ground's been working up pretty nice for Jeff though. We'll probably be in here for a while. Everyone in my family drives so far away from the clutch. That's like full extension for me. And we're off. Don't tell our neighbor. Push the tree onto his side a little bit. Told you guys I also specialize in tree removal. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm like 99.99% certain that that tire right there is flat. Don't believe that I have any ratcheting tools in here. Knowing what I know about these tires and what I can tell from up here, I'm gonna take one of these. Take an 18, a 19, and a 20. Take a 17 too. It's a 19, but I'm not sure that I'm gonna be able to get that off. It can't ever really be flat until you check it. This one was about to come off the rim, so I figured I should stop. These wing leveling tires on this vertical till are good for about 1 flat a year, guaranteed. There's no way I break these. That didn't work at all. Gonna have to call the boss. Just made the phone call, now we wait. Jeff did leave me with a flat tire, but he also cleaned the windows on the tractor, so I think I'll let it slide. At least I have a fantastic view to wait. Man, this farm's beautiful. We're not gonna be able to fix it. I was just gonna try and pop it off and put it in the cab here with me. My tools aren't gonna work. I'm gonna pull the tractor up to the road and wait. Wow, that was fast. I got sent back up to the tractor. We're having a hard time getting the lug nuts off. The rim is loose inside the tire, so anything we use to hold down the tire, the rim is spinning inside. And it carries around that dinky little impact that doesn't have enough raw power to take it off without a breaker bar. That's why a lot of people carry around those big portable 1-inch impacts. It's not by choice that I'm the one up in the tractor. He commands me to come up here, and then he'll complain about doing that. That's what it's like working for your dad. Little rascal. We're just gonna run without that wheel for the time being. We've done it numerous times before. It's not that big of a deal. May not work as level, but this thing's doing so little dirt work that it really doesn't matter. Last pass of this field, and the field we're headed to is on the other side of the soybean field on the next road over. Get along just fine without that wheel. I'm pulling up to the new field as we speak. Hopefully you don't hear from me again, because that means something went wrong. Let's get this field worked. I've been really confused for like the last hour or so, wondering why it was so dark already, and then I remembered that the time changed this weekend. Man, I don't need help to be confused, so maybe we could stop doing that. I feel like the timing of the clock's changing is a little bit off. I could still use the sunshine. Plus, how am I going to see what all my neighbors are doing? That's the biggest part about farming, is knowing what everyone else is doing. This is what happens when you work the ends at night. You all right, buddy? It was already rotten, it's not my fault. Just gonna put that back down. Worry about that next year. Making the last pass around the field, then we're headed home. Woo! Spooky moon tonight. It feels like it's midnight, but it's actually only like 7 o'clock. Back to work. This field's done. We're headed to the exit. Other than maybe a tiny bit of dirt, they're good to go. I can't get over how good this vertical till works up this ground. That is a powder. I don't know for certain, but I bet our soybean planter driver will love that next spring. I guess we'll have to check with him sometime. We got the hazards on, and we're headed back home for the night. I guess I'm the last one in for the night. Both rippers are parked here. I'll put this by the fuel tank and fill it up in the morning. Maybe we can run a ripper tomorrow. That'd be kind of fun. Well, you can fuel it up now. I'm finishing up, fueling up the 9460R that has the vertical till on it. Tomorrow there's going to be a lot more tillage action. I think we're going to be having some custom nitrogen applied, and also the dry fertilizer spreaders are still going to be running. I'm going to make sure and push this video out tonight because in the United States, tomorrow, Tuesday, is election day. Please go out and vote regardless of who you're voting for. It's very important to go out there and represent yourself. Holy moly, this thing is slow. Come on, fill faster. Trying to go home. That's definitely enough farming for one video though. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate your support. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great night, everyone, and make sure you go cast your votes. Peace!